We are doing a quick tutorial for the upcoming PoC competition round 2. We're going to be covering the competition page, which goes over the objective of the competition, and also talking about specifically what competition participants will need to do during the PoC. So this document, which is located in Discord, actually covers all of the objectives, the procedure, and other parts of the competition detail and rules. So we're going to go over this, and the way you can find this document is if you go over to our Discord, you will see in PoC Competition Details, the new channel that we made for the upcoming PoC, the competition page has been linked here. So if you open this link for the competition page, this is the most important document since it has all of the links that you will need. And again, you can find that in the Discord server under the competition details page. Once you click on that link, it'll open up this page here. And so we're going to talk about all of these different parts so that any participants can have their questions answered before the competition actually starts next Monday. That is Monday for me, but it'll be the 23rd UTC. So whatever date that ends up being for you. Now, in looking at our objective here, the main difference from PoC Round 2 versus our earlier PoC, which some of you may know that we held last year, is going to be that this PoC is comparing both versions of the NFT marketplace. So we will be comparing version 1 and version 2 of the NFT Marketplace app. In doing so, we're going to talk a little bit about how we can, get results, right, from the actual PoC competition. And ultimately, some of these results are trying to figure out which version of the application is going to be better for users. Superiority, right, so which version is better or superior, is specific to the valuation for NFTs, and also being able to sell NFTs at a higher price. And the way we're doing that is, again, through this competition, testing out which application, V1 or V2, will bring about these results. The procedure for community members or participants is as follows. So we're going to be collecting the 200 members who have signed up and dividing them between Marketplace V1 and V2. So depending on your assigned role during the entirety of the PoC competition, you will either be interacting with Marketplace version 1 or Marketplace version 2. So you're going to be assigned a role, right? If you're watching this video, odds are you already applied for the PoC and follow the instructions as given in Discord. When we divide the participants into their respective marketplaces, version 1 or version 2, we are then going to divide them again into group L or group B. And so in doing this, we're actually going to have 4 groups total. The participants will be divided into 4 groups total. Group L will be issued a test NFT, and Group B will be issued a test token. So again, the way this looks to participants is first you will be divided into version 1 or version 2 of the marketplace, and then you will be granted a NFT or granted test tokens, depending on whether you were given Group L or Group B. The main difference between this is the role that Group L and Group B has, which I'll cover in a second. Afterwards, we are going to have a 14-day long competition, as you see here, and then the rewards will be delegated to the top holders of each respective group. What that means is someone in Group L for version 1 will be issued a reward. Group B of version 1 will be issued a reward. Group L of version 2 will be issued a reward, and group B of version 2 will be issued a reward. So at minimum, there will be 4 winners, 4 people who receive rewards based off of their success after evaluating the participants at the end of the POC. So again, like I mentioned, the POC starts on January 23rd at 8 p.m. UTC and will last for 14 days. Now, before we cover the apps, these are just a quick link to each of the apps, version 1 or version 2. So just remind yourself, be mindful of the fact that depending on which group you're assigned to, version 1 or version 2, you will have to visit the correct link for version 1 or version 2. Each one will be slightly different. So going back to the group roles, this is where we can actually figure out a little more detail about kind of the roles each participant plays, right? Remember that group L participants are issued an NFT, right? And they cannot bid on other NFTs unless they list the NFT that they were issued. And this is because group L participants will not be issued tokens. They are only being issued an NFT, like we mentioned up here. On the other side, group B participants will only be issued a certain amount of tokens. And so the goal of group B participants is to try and purchase a token, right? And then list those NFTs, right? The main thing to keep in mind is that the value of the NFTs is random, right? So it might have a different value depending on which user you are. So one person may look at the NFT and the marketplace will describe the value of the NFT to you, and it may be worth 100, but that same exact NFT to someone else might be worth 1,000. And so what we're doing here is we're making it random on the value of the NFTs. Remember that our goal here for successfully participating in the POC is to acquire the largest balance. So because of these roles here, because of these rules, we actually are making it to successfully allow people from each of these groups to have the best chance to gain additional value, right? Now, the one thing to keep in mind, and we'll actually talk about that a little bit over here for the NFT evaluation method, right, is basically the fact that the value of each NFT as distributed is random. However, to some users, it may be worth more or less. So, for example, I may own an NFT that's only worth one GUU, but to someone else that may be worth 1,000, and so they might be willing to pay more for that specific NFT. So again, the group here is trying to acquire tokens by listing their NFT, and that's group L, right? And group B is trying to buy NFTs that they can list, right? Acquire NFTs in an auction. Oh, and the last thing to remember here is that if you are issued an NFT, right? If someone has an NFT that is never sold, right, and it's just held to the end, then the value will be 0, right? And the reason why is because we're going to rule out any participants who do not actually go through the functions of participating in the POC. So if someone is issued an NFT, they cannot win by default unless they actually go and try to achieve the roles for each group, right? So again, remember, depending on which group you are issued, this is your goal here. And if you do nothing, then the value will be 0, right? So you will have no chance to win the POC unless you are successfully participating in it. All right, so the rules here, remember, the only token that we're issuing that's used during the POC is going to be our utility token, GUU. And the GU token will be dummy tokens that'll be issued to each member of Group B. Then again, any NFT that is held at the end is counted toward the user's total token balance. So anyone who has accumulated NFTs, they will get the value of that NFT counted to their wallet balance as part of the tallying to determine who is the winner. So if I acquire multiple NFTs during the course of the PoC competition, that will increase my total balance, and therefore I can use that to give myself a chance to win, if that is my goal. Then PoC ends at 14 days. A detail here about the auction period, right? So remember, we'll talk a little bit more about this, but there's basically the difference between the period of sale to payment to delivery for the NFT transaction. So that is something to keep in mind. NFTs given at the start, if held without selling, again, will have a value of 0, as we already stated. And then just each member of Group L is granted 1 NFT, and then each member of Group B is issued 1,000 tokens. Troubleshooting and questions. We have set up a channel in the Discord right here, PoC Competition Support. This channel is accessible to anybody who is signed up for the PoC. If you have immediate issues trying to participate in the PoC, right, and you're having immediate issues, post in this channel. Otherwise, if you have further feedback or advice for us throughout your interaction with the marketplaces during the PoC, please do share on the GitHub. If you have issues using GitHub, feel free to ask in Discord, and the moderators will be happy to help you. And then rewards, like I said, the one holding the most tokens, having the highest total balance in groups L and B, and then of V1 and V2 will be given a reward. Now, in case of a tie, that reward will be split. So there is a chance, at minimum, there will be 4 winners, 1 for each group. However, there is a chance for more winners to be announced if there is a tie. And then the reward will be split between the tie. And then obviously the reward is issued in real token, not in dummy token. During the PoC, any tokens during the PoC are going to be obviously dummy tokens that are being issued. And then this is just the NFT evaluation method. It describes the way in which NFTs will have different values based off of the different user. So depending on the owner's address, your NFT will have a different value. And again, that goes back to what I was saying about how it might have a different value between you and someone else. The marketplace will display the value of the NFT. So if there's an NFT up for auction, it is currently listing. On my screen, it will display what the value of that NFT is to me. And so if I look at it and it says 100 GU, that is the true value to me, to my address. However, someone else may look at that same NFT, and on their screen, again, depending on the owner's address, on their screen, it might be worth 1 token. So the NFTs will have random values, and it will have different values to each of the different owners. So that is something to keep in mind. And then the last part here is our marketplace manual. So the marketplace manual describes in extreme detail how to actually operate the marketplace. We have 2 separate manuals, one for V1 and one for V2 as well. If you click on these links, they will show you all of the functions that are available on each version of the marketplace. In V2, there are some additional functions that are available. So this is why we are testing both versions at the same time. Now, in our previous PoC round 1, we actually published a tutorial. And I published that video publicly. So it says PoC Competition Round 1. In this video here is a tutorial for Marketplace V1. So if I just skip to the bottom here, you'll see Marketplace Manual, right? This is for V1 of the Marketplace. So we can actually review the Marketplace Manual V1 in this tutorial video. So that link is available to you. It's published on the YouTube, and I'll also share this link in the Discord as well. So that's the tutorial for V1. If you want to watch that video, again, it's on YouTube. If you want to read the V1 manual, you access it from this link here. Marketplace V2 manual. So the Marketplace V2 operates a little differently than V1, and that primarily has to do with some added bidding functionality and the way the market is displayed. So if we go over the functions that are available in V2 on this manual, we can actually see how some of those are available, specifically when it comes to like the loan aspect as well, right? This will be unique to version 2 of the Marketplace. So let's just do a quick tutorial while we're here, since one doesn't exist yet, and we'll talk about each of the functions that are available. Of course, first thing, preparation, is you need to use Keplr App for your wallet, and you can install Keplr on your web browser. Reminder that the Marketplace V2 is only available on a desktop or a laptop. It's not mobile supported yet. So you have to visit this link to visit the version 2 of the Marketplace, and then you connect your wallet, and once you're connected over there with your Keplr wallet, then you can actually go ahead and access the Marketplace. See, for example, ask me to log in with my Keplr wallet, and then once I do that, I can visit my page. And so now that I'm logged in on Keplr, obviously the My Page part will load. So you can do that on the preparation side. This is just a detailed description of the user flow for operating on the Marketplace between bidding, borrowing assets, returning assets. And it kind of just describes the user flow for the Marketplace. We can skip this part since it will not be applicable, and we can skip this part as well. Basically, because of the fact that we are issuing NFTs at the beginning, we can skip those 2 steps and go straight to listing NFTs that have been issued. And so on the home page, right, if you visit my page here, any NFTs that have been issued as a result of PoC will be placed here. You can then go and click on one of those NFTs and list it. So you will see some options here to select, and we give you each of the descriptions for those functions here. Just note that generally you don't really need to change any of these specific functions. Click on the submit button, and the example listing looks like this. Just note that once an NFT has been completed on the listing, you cannot cancel it. And if you would like to accept a listing, so selling the NFT, then you simply just need to go to the bottom of the page, and you can select on the highest rank automatically. If the transaction is successful, the auction state will move to the payment period. So as a reminder, there are the 3 periods. So the bidding period, right? The accept, right? And then the payment. So that's period 2. And then the delivery period. So that's the 3rd part. Now, when we come to accessing loans and borrowing tokens, you could do so based off of the amounts deposited by the bidders. So you just go to the page of the NFT that you listed, and it will show the maximum amount of the borrow that you can access here. And you could click borrow there. And in doing so, we have here a summary page for your borrow amount, which describes the expiry date, right, or the date of repayment, and the average interest rate during that time period. If there's only one bid, then the information is showed at the bottom here underneath the chart. You can also click simulate as one of the functions to show the average interest rate and expiry date based off of the different bids. And then if you approve a specific amount, then you can just click submit and decide on the amount you wish to borrow and sign that transaction in Keplr, and then you will receive the tokens. Loan repayment. So you have to just go back to that same page off the NFT, right? So if we go back right onto the NFT page, we're on my page. And then when we click on it, on the NFT, you can click repay, and you'll see here again the repayment. There are some extra data, right? The bids that are eligible for repayment, and then it'll be selected from the lowest interest rate bids. And then you simply have to click submit, approve and sign, and then you will pay back the loan. Then liquidation over here. So there is a description here in the case of liquidation as to how settlement is done. However, for the scope of the PoC competition, most likely we will be able to avoid liquidation. However, do keep in mind that this is part of the functionality here. If you cannot repay the bidder's lending in the appropriate time limit. And then bidding on NFTs. So anybody who is in the bidding group, right, group B, you can bid on the NFTs that have been listed very simply by visiting the page and then adjusting the amounts you wish to bid, your deposit amount, your interest rate, and your expiry date for the bidding tokens. And then you can also, again, simulate your bid in comparison to other bids. And then you sign a transaction to submit your bid. As a reminder, when there is the deposit amount, you cannot cancel a bid, so make sure that your deposit amount is correct before you click submit. If someone decides to sell their NFT against your bid, you will have some time to pay the full bid amount. So that's the amount you bid in total minus the amount you deposited and the remaining amount to close out the bid. So you have to pay that, and you just click the button on the page of your NFT and again sign a transaction. Then we also have staking functionality here. So there is the ability to visit this staking page, staking status here, and you can just stake your amount during the PoC competition if you have any extra tokens that you are not using. But just be reminded of the unbonding period. So if you do stake tokens, the unbonding period during the PoC competition is still in effect. I believe it is 2 days, if I'm not mistaken, during the PoC period. Obviously, normally it would be 14 days, but here for PoC, I believe it is 2 days. And so if you decide to stake, just be reminded to unstake any tokens that you have staked before the end of the PoC competition if you want those tokens to be recorded in your total balance. And you also have to remember to withdraw any rewards as well that were issued. Again, here we can check the staking status, and then we can unstake here And then, like I said, withdrawing the rewards, which you will want to do after you've staked for a certain period. So these are the main functionalities of the V2 application, with the major changes being to the bid functionality and the lending functionality. So like I said here, this is going to be a completely different process for anybody who is placed into the V2 testing group, and anyone who is placed into the V1 testing group will have to go back and check out the V1 tutorial, which, like I mentioned, is up on YouTube. This marketplace manual, if you are in V2, remember to have it close. Remember to have these links to the, see if we can go back to the competition page where it has the links to V1, V2 for the marketplace manuals and for the applications. So now that you know where to access these links, you should have no questions about how to successfully participate in the PoC competition. Again, if you do have questions, please visit the support channel. Use the PoC competition support channel where we can help address your questions. That is in the UnUniFi Discord. Otherwise, this link has been posted again in the PoC competition details channel with links directly to V1 manual and V2 manual. So depending which group you are in, that is the manual you will need to use during the PoC competition. All right, I believe that is everything. As usual, if you have any questions, please let us know. And good luck in the competition. Reminder that it starts on January 23rd and will last 14 days. Thank you guys so much for watching. Talk soon.